All right, let's get right into it. Today we're breaking down a really important shift in global security, and it's all coming from the Pentagon's brand new assessment of China. What's inside this report? Well, it pretty much changes the game for everyone.
Welcome to the Global War Watch Network, where we track these critical global developments. And hey, if you want to stay ahead of the curve on major stories just like this one, do us a favor and hit that subscribe button right now. It really helps.
So here's the headline, and it is a big one. For the very first time, the Pentagon has put it in black and white. China's military is now officially capable of directly threatening the security of Americans. And listen, this isn't some future prediction. This is their assessment of the reality right now, today.
Now, the Department of Defense, they don't just throw words like historic around. So when they use it to describe what's happening with the People's Liberation Army, you know it signals a major turning point in the global balance of power.
To really understand this shift, we've got to look past the headlines and get into the numbers, because the data tells a story of incredible speed and ambition.
For decades, right, the U.S. Navy's aircraft carriers were the symbol of global power. Nobody else came close. But look at this. The Pentagon projects that by 2035, China will have 9 carriers. That puts them shockingly close to America's current fleet of 11. We're talking about a massive expansion in just a little over a decade.
And this buildup goes way beyond just ships. On the nuclear front, the Pentagon says China's stockpile is on a path to blast past 1,000 warheads by 2030. That is a huge acceleration, and it fundamentally changes the entire nuclear landscape.
It's also about the tech. China now has what's called an advanced early warning counterstrike capability. What does that mean? It means they could launch a retaliatory strike before an enemy missile even hits its target. And financially? Well, their official budget saw a big jump, but the Pentagon is pretty clear they believe the real number, the actual spending, is much higher.
So you see this massive arsenal, and you have to ask why. This isn't just about collecting hardware. It all serves a much larger strategy. This military buildup is part of a very clear long-term vision. And the thing is, it's not a secret. President Xi Jinping has been very public about it. He's framed all of this as part of his Chinese dream. And the goal is explicit. Build a world-class military that can directly challenge U.S. global dominance by the middle of this century.
Now, China isn't going at this alone. They've been deepening their strategic partnership with Russia. And the Pentagon is pretty blunt about why. They have a shared goal of countering the United States. Beijing is also watching Russia's experience in Ukraine like a hawk, basically taking notes on their mistakes to modernize its own forces.
But, and this is a big but, this alliance has a fundamental flaw. The Pentagon report points to, and I'm quoting here, a persistent mutual distrust between Beijing and Moscow. This friction, this lack of real trust, puts a hard limit on just how deep their cooperation can really go. It's a potential crack in their united front.
Okay, so just when this whole military picture starts to look crystal clear, things get, well, they get complicated. Because at the exact same time all of this is happening, there's a totally different track running right alongside it. High-level diplomacy.
And this is where things get really interesting. You have this stark contrast. On one side, you've got President Xi's hard deadline for his military. Be ready to take Taiwan by force by 2027. But on the other side, a diplomatic window is opening up, with President Trump accepting an invitation to visit China in early 2025 for talks about the big picture. And you hear this optimistic language from the diplomatic side, calling the relationship extremely strong. You put that right next to the Pentagon's grim military warnings, and it feels like you're talking about two different planets. So what does this all mean? How can both of these things be true at the same time? We're living in a moment where two opposing realities exist side by side, and navigating this balancing act is becoming the central challenge for global stability. This is what analysts have started calling a dual-track environment. It's this strange situation where you have stark, serious military warnings coming from defense officials, while at the same time, diplomats are pushing for high-level talks and trying to cool things down.
Here's probably the best way to think about it. Imagine the Pentagon is like a weather station, and it's reporting that a massive, historic storm is gathering just off the coast. The data is undeniable. At the very same time, the city officials, those are the diplomats, are having a meeting with the source of the storm to discuss long-term climate goals. It's a really strange picture.
And that leaves us with the single most important question in all of this. When a country's military buildup and its diplomatic talks are running on two separate parallel tracks, Which one is actually going to decide the final destination? Thank you for joining us here at Global War Watch Network. I'm really curious to know what you think. Which track sets the course, military power or diplomacy? Let us know down in the comments. If you found this breakdown valuable, please hit that like button, share it, and of course, subscribe for more analysis. You can also join our community over on social media. All the links for that are in the description. We'll see you next time.